Oh, is it problem with my headset or?
Can you hear me? Can
Oh,
you
yeah,
hear me
no,
now?
no, no, I can. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I was having problem with my internet. It's still like I don't know what is happening.
Oh,
Yeah. What's up?
what's up?
Stop. I
I
was
made
just
coffee.
yeah, I was just makeup session. I was putting some makeup. I don't know if it's a bit glitter, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
in
yeah.
it's glitter, but in the tone of my skin. So
I see. That's not too strong. It's very subtle,
yeah, subtle.
but gorgeous.
Gorgeous, of course, yes. I like to feel like this today. I feel it's very sunny here, so it's very nice. I mean, it's like 20 degrees, which is, yeah, the last days. I mean, also from tomorrow will start raining, so this is the maximum we will have.
Oh,
I don't know how it's in Germany right
it's a
now.
similar situation. Oh yeah, it's actually the same. Like 22 degrees, and then tomorrow it's rain, and
Wow.
then it's going to be after tomorrow it's going to be a bit low,
And it stayed like this for the whole week.
more than a week it seems.
Yeah. I mean, until the app can go. Until the
Yeah,
app goes.
exactly.
Yeah, same
But I
here.
don't trust the Apple app, which
No, me too. Like Apple is the worst of them. Like, yeah, Apple is the. I mean, I don't trust like the weathercasts also that are really unpredictable, but Apple is the Yahoo Apple thing is the worst,
yeah. Yeah.
right?
But which one do you use? I use
The
Meta.
one that I have, I mean, the one that I was checking is just the weather app from Apple.
Yeah, I just checked first, and then I also use, yeah, exactly. But I also
Yeah,
use Meteo Blue, which is really cool because it has this radar that shows, like for the next 1 hour or so.
yeah. That's
So
more trustable.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I use some AR radar also, but it was
oh,
working amazingly until they changed the version, and now in a way you have to, I mean, you have to buy before you could use it really well. I mean, just for the radar, let's say you don't have layers or things like this, but the radar will work with the cloud and stuff. But they upgrade the app, and now you have to, yeah, you have to upgrade to premium.
I see. We
It's so
should.
horrible how people do these things. No, it seems to me like the
It's a
companies in a way
marketing
are like
strategy.
fishing. No,
Yeah,
they're fishing you. They give you a good service for. I mean, I understand when they do like for maybe 10 days, 1 month, but I have that for more than 3 years. I think the same version, and now they just wanted to. I don't know, and then I feel very abused with that happen when you are having a service that is, for a certain time.
and yeah, you're a royal user.
Yeah, I mean, even yeah, I mean, I use it. Yeah, I don't have the premium version, but I use it. That's my radar. That's the one that I will trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking we should do that, like for the practice. That for the first 1 month you can watch it for free, and if you subscribe, you can get like more content. Or
This
something.
is this is best practices in business. I'm pretty sure. Like, I mean, in copyrights and no, where was it? Yeah, in copyrights, one of the things that then you learn with in the module of hacking and ethical hacking and stuff like that was about phishing and all these modalities they are like to basically scam you,
Yeah,
and that the companies also do like legally to get your data and basically to fuck you up. Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I don't know if this will be uploaded. I don't know if
I have no
somebody's
idea.
watching, or I'm sure at least Naoto and Jorge are there somewhere, in future, present somewhere.
Exactly.
Maybe they're watching. Maybe Jorge's watching. Maybe Naoto's watching. Or maybe Jorge and
Imagine,
Naoto are watching, but maybe and delay, and they don't even know about it.
yeah, like imagine if you retire. I don't know what that means, and then you don't have anything to do, so you just start watching all these chat from this time. I don't know how many videos will accumulate by then, but
Um, I started writing some. I started checking. I was checking the document yesterday, and I put something in the hybrid document today also, and was about unknowing. I call it volver. Wait, maybe first I want to refer to something you mentioned in the document. Oh my god, I have so many documents because I'm writing now. There are like literally more than 15, 20 small documents. That's just a mess. Um, uh, yeah, just I remember that you were mentioning in the text in Japanese that you don't use present verb, like I do in Spanish or you do in English, like to say I'm hungry, you said I am hungry. You cannot say hungry, that means nothing. But if you said in Japanese, apparently just hungry, you can use it as a word.
Yep.
And then I found very interesting that because of the wait, let me try to simplify to not make dense this, because I'm trying to say that is yeah. So it make me think like volver in Spanish means to come back, and volver is actually the name of my company, of like the organization where I invoice my things and stuff. It's called Volver, and it was a project that we started at some point with my couple, because then at some point we were traveling in Europe and we always were coming back home, and that's something that also stays. It's something that means a lot. This idea, like you return, you come back always, like you come back. These things you come back. Like if you're away from home, I mean, like you will come back so at some point, because that's how it goes. I don't know why, but we live in loops apparently. I don't know. Um, and then in regards to that, then I wrote something that it was about the unknowing. Uh, what is the document? Which one? Uh, yeah, about practice in times of uncertainty. Yeah, it's one of my subcategories. It's called Volver SP, which I'm trying to propose as, if you use a different language. I don't know if you can see the document right now.
Yeah, I open it.
You see like what it says, like the subtitle Volver, and then brackets SP. I mean like as a Spanish. Uh, so somehow like to propose that if we use words in other language, maybe we can do it in that way. Or I mean, which is a proposal. Yeah, and basically I just wrote about this unknowingness that is about possibility and about practicing to not know. uh, that's in sum what I'm trying to say in the document, basically. And to question, I mean, is to not know. No, first I think it's starting from questioning, but from the sake of questioning, like just not questioning as an active advisory of rationality and trying to answer what is the question, but a question for the sake of questioning, which is a practice
Yep.
in itself. Yeah, and that's the way how I wanted to start sharing that with you.
See,
Yeah,
it's always difficult to make a good question. That's something in itself is definitely a practice, and in an academic context, which I talk about all the time these days, I feel I'm not in an academic position. Well, in a way, I'm in a postgrad school, so it's academic in a way. But what I want to say is, I was once at academic conference where it was engineering, so it's really rigid. Like if you ask question, like there are talks, like you present your paper, your research for let's say 50 minutes, and then you have Q&A for 5 minutes. And in this context, usually it's really like what people ask is very rigid. Let's say you made this program, then people would ask, what kind of framework you used. This kind of question. It's really like there is an answer to it. But
Yeah.
then there was this, usually like in the conference, there's a conference or the track chair who's the MC and, manages the time. And, if there's no question, then he's going to ask, or they're going to ask a question, because, that's also, it's there to facilitate or animate in other languages. And this guy, so the talk was about robots that fight against each other, or it's like a video game that you shoot each other, but with the robots, like actual robots with AR. Just I think it's a nice project. It was really like a more like a student project, but still, it's nice. And then no one asked a question, so this conference, the chair asked a question because he had to. What he said was, "What do you think about drones killing people?" And that, I found that was really a nice question, because it's just like opens up whole another topic, and it's not really about the research itself. I mean, it is the research itself, but it's like a fundamental part of it, but it's not about what program you used, or like this kind of concrete question. And I think the answer was something like, the researcher is against this kind of thing, and that's why they wanted to make it more playful, instead of killing people. But there's like, since like that was really like the moment I thought, that is the question. It's not like, if you have this small question, how you want to, if you want to know a very specific thing that there is an answer, then you can just come to the speaker after the conference, or when there's like a um, dinner or something. There's always a place to network. But in
Yeah.
this open space, because it's shared with other people, it's a place to plant something rather than crop. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's
No,
always
I think
hard.
it's, yeah, but I think it's because it has to be with this. If you speak from from your experience in a conference, so when the frameworks are very defined, like, so, like, I mean, it comes from this idea of knowledge, like, and searching for knowledge. So then basically, yeah, we find comfort in knowledge, basically, because if you go to there, and I mean, it's just natural, that's what we do, like, that's actually is your consciousness in action. That's not the body, but that's the master. That's not the slave. That's the mind. That's my consciousness trying to make sense for my ease, basically. That yeah, it's like, it's so difficult beyond uncertainty. Basically, it's difficult to be on the uncertainty in one hand, but what it makes it more complicated is when you are sharing uncertainty with people, then you start suffering. Let's say in a conference, if somebody doesn't know what it wants to ask, it makes feel everybody uncomfortable because it comes from uncertainty. At some point, weeks ago, I was checking about post-structuralism and Derrida, and the idea of destructuring, actually, from when it was proposed, that it comes from him. I didn't know this idea of like the deconstruct things. That's a term that I use very often in art, and like with the idea of deconstruct and to layer something in different ways. This idea, and it comes from this post-structuralism, and it's proposed by Derrida. And one of the things that he says, from things that I was reading, is that in his philosophy, basically, is very clear that actually, and the somebody's a human maturity is no, I mean, you can see like somebody's intelligent, mature enough when you don't know. And I'd never heard of that like that. Derrida, this philosopher, was one of the first, if not the first person, who's saying that if you are mature, if you're intelligent, mature enough, you understand that things make no sense in a way and are very complex. There is no one-sided answer. Therefore, then just when you are mature enough, you understand that there is just a deconstruction of infinite possibilities, solutions, environments, lives, frameworks, and so on. That is life itself. So that he was saying that when you are in a conversation with somebody, a mature, intelligent conversation, what you don't know is not a sign of weakness, but it's a sign actually of your maturity intellectually, because it just shows that you understand that things are not one-sided. And that's something that, I mean, it's just, I mean, it's kind of, if we talk of this, it seems like it makes sense, like you don't have to be super, I don't know, like it makes sense. But at the same time, it's something that I didn't hear, or I didn't even thought about it. It's something that you give for granted. Like, ah, yeah, the world's complex. Ah, yeah, I'm complex. Ah, yeah, this is just complex. But you don't really think about it. That actually, if I don't understand something, I cannot explain myself many times when I'm speaking with you or with somebody else. It doesn't mean that I'm stupid, which often I think, or that I just, yeah, with my own limitations or my own traumas. But it just means that my maturity is speaking from me. And it's just interesting. I would just try like to say, like, because that speaks about uncertainty and sharing the space of, like, what, I don't know now, like, I don't know. But that's what I think is cool about what we do, because we are comfortable sharing things that we don't know. So going back to the example of the conference, and then the example again of when somebody cannot choose what is the question, makes everybody unstable and uncertain. Like, it just feels awkward, right? I don't know. That's whole.
Yeah, I think that itself has many layers. I don't fully understand, so I don't know if it's right to say. This is already uncertainty in myself, but the knowledge itself becomes very abstract and unstable. The topic itself, what we're talking about, is not something that we find the truth. I think I like this word because I can blame everything when I say the truth. That's the word that bears everything. Um, but also that
It's a blade.
we
It's like a blade. Yeah.
scapegoat. Um, that the other thing is that we acknowledge ourselves that we don't know. It's not that we try to defend our positions by saying something, but it's we just leave it to each other or future selves or whoever wants to understand it. But I don't have to, defend my position or my standpoint.
Yeah. I mean,
That's that's really
sorry.
important
Yeah, yeah,
because I like the school started again, so I go to seminars and sometimes I really feel uncomfortable that someone's really smart, but they're trying to defend their position, their view, and
yeah.
they know that there should be discussion, but still they don't give the space to talk about it. Or
I mean, to be honest, like, if I can interrupt, like, that's some, because it makes me think again of path, Western, like this Eurocentric view coming from my opinion. Then it's like, I don't think, to be honest, when we speak about this abstraction of knowledge, there is actually less to think, but more to feel. And it's more about to embody that space, which is still will be framed within, let's say, words, if you want to talk with other person and so on. But it's still, I think it has to be more with sensibility and just slowing down, and yeah, basically give a space to actually maybe not have the right, and being a different uh performativity, or I don't know, like, like aiming to I have the last word, like, am I right? If I'm right, this is the truth. um yeah.
This is interesting, like feeling, um, because yesterday I was listening, try to find some podcast, dance related podcast. I shouldn't say anything bad because there are not many dance related podcasts. So, but this podcast was not really well done. Like the host was talking a lot before the interviewer comes. And it's not really well organized. Just what I would say in the first 1 or 2 minutes, and then go on to the topic. But they were talking about it for like 20 minutes, questioning themselves what they're talking about, and then it's like a loop of not sure about what they're doing, and then the guest comes, and the host should if you're a host, you should have at least like the dialogue. It's not that you have your guest and you just keep talking, but they
Right.
were like that a little bit at first, at least. Like they could just jump into the topic, but they're talking about themselves for a few minutes and then ask question, but the question's not clear, so they started explaining again, which was pretty bad. But then I was quite like thinking, like but this made me think a lot about what is, like, makes me judge what that's something I don't like about myself. But I do judge it's good podcast or not good podcast. But then
Yeah.
if it's not good, then why is it? But then it makes me really think, because it's not something that, like, for example, like Martin's podcast, I listen to it. I actually listen to it these days, like just repeatedly, without too much attention. But this is like that's really well done. Like it seems like he makes his music as well, and everything is well done. There may be something that could be improved, but it's not like you feel that something is, um, I don't know, could be
It's a
polished.
performance, eh?
It's a performance, yes.
It's a performance, yeah.
Yes.
He announced it as a performance, yeah.
But the other one, I found it's really uh, could be done well, but then that's also like interesting, like that made me think. And sometimes, like, I feel, let's say I see like bad art. I don't want to say it this way, but the artwork that let's say I don't like, but then something is stuck in my mind because that's something really bad that made me think of so many things.
Yeah.
And I'm just questioning, like, what is this?
I mean, I don't know if, like, if the way how I see myself, like, since, I don't know, yeah, the way how I perceive art, since some time ago, since long ago, I think, is that, and actually not only art, but my relationships, like path, like things that really matter to me, you know, is things that I cannot define if I like it or not, because otherwise I'm not interested. And like that also is with art. mm, yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, like, when there is something that is not defined for me in a way, then it's interesting, let's say. um so escapes the, in a way, they like it or not like it. I will say it goes more in a terrain of, like, how uncomfortable it makes me feel, for instance. Like, for instance, there is one woman in Seeds. She's an interaction designer, and she works a lot with 3D printing. And part of her work is very speculative, of course. And so she prototype, like, humans in the future, organs, things like that. So some things are very, very visceral. Like, at some point in the video, she was showing how cutting an eye and stuff like that, like very, very visceral things that myself, I'm very particularly sensible with that thing. So, for instance, like, that's something that makes me feel very uncomfortable. uh Yet, yeah, it's a very interesting topic, like, what the way how she approached it and what she's doing, then I will say I like it in a way, or I found it more interesting. Like then my interest will still be on top of my uncomfort. And when I cannot handle, let's say, I just don't watch it. But for the rest, I just trying to figure it out. What is that she's trying to say?
I don't know, someone's alarm or something I'm hearing. Yeah, I mean, what I meant is like first of all, it's not well done. Like, well, that's like the judging.
It has to be really bad. I mean, you mean like in extremes, something that you see is like, okay, that's not good. Extremes or
Not, I don't know. Well, in this podcast, in that sense, I would say I put it in the extreme that it was not really well done.
okay.
It could have been executed well, but sometimes artworks that is like, let's say, okay, like maybe there's something that could be done better, but like sometimes it's just not good. It's not that you don't like it or you like it or not, but it's just not well done. But then sometimes it's not well done, but it's just makes me question a lot about why it's not well done. Like, how can it be better, to be done better, and why do people think it's like, how do we judge? And this is like a big question. Like, I feel like I always question, like, what is curation and how people judge artworks. And that always makes me uncomfortable that we do judge, and I do somehow, like, at a glance, I look at artwork. I
Give me a
would,
second. Give me a second. I
yeah.
need to check something.
Oh, yeah. So I would change the topic.
No, okay, no, yeah, okay. So she's late, like 10 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, because you have to go.
Sorry.
No, it's okay, but so it's good. 10 minutes late.
Or you can join the chat.
She's the person that I told you that of the website that is so weird, right? So weird. It's an artist. She works more from sound. I know her from the Impulse Dance from Vienna.
I see.
And she's very well positioned, I think. But I don't know, like I see here, she's very busy working more in Germany with media, more with sound and performance in that spectrum, working very often in Vienna. Anyway, Annalena. So what? Wait. Yeah, okay. So we were talking of this, like, okay, maybe I would like to see I was thinking about the chat because I'm writing and I have my conversation with my promoter, my school also, for the project for the practice for the final work of my thesis. Yeah. And then I was thinking that this idea of the chat, one thing was you propose, what if we invite other people to join the chat, which I think that will be very good. And actually we can expand in that another time because they're more like in backstage, because it's actually it has a lot of potential. We can invite eventually Martin. He might join. Then yeah, the chat for the in the framework of the best practice for the school, what I thought, and I wanted to propose to you to think, what do you think is, if at the end part, instead of just you and me chatting, what if we make a kind of like Q&A version in via Zoom or Jitsi or something, but then we link it. I mean, we still we put it through the stream, then people have the chance to question and answer things.
You said Q and what?
Q&A.
Q&A. Yeah.
I said Q&O.
Yeah. But then
maybe that's nicer. We should name it like that. It's like question and option.
Yeah, like
Q&O.
when you said that, I was thinking like, what can it be like, or maybe question and question or something like that. That because it's not a question and answer, anyways.
No, but I like this idea of question and option.
Sure. Or we just leave it.
Q and O, but because
Q
the
and
thing is,
O.
I like the sound Q and O.
Yeah.
Q and O.
Q sounds like a
Q and Q,
like a Chinese company or something.
yeah. And Q and A.
No.
No, that's my Spanish English in my head. That's the translation. That's what I think. It's Q and A. Is Q and O. That's what I say. That's the context, I guess, in my head. Like, often I do these things like, but it happens when you is not your first language, then you bastard sentences, like, like things that a native speaker will say, and once you get, let's say, fluent in the language, then you will try to use it. Sometimes it doesn't work like that because it's, like you need to, it just comes from, you grew up with that and then you can use it. So then often, or sometimes, then I will say something and people are, what do you mean with that? Like exactly like this.
No,
I
that,
mean
that, that was a good
Q&A.
one.
I mean Q&A, so it's Q and O.
But anyway, there's no answer, so that's a good idea, I would say.
But so yeah, that's to say that I showed it as well to the people, to the promoter. The guy said it was very nice. It looks very good, and we can have this more conversation in in the coming days, and also to talk about the chat with guest speakers. We can buy different people, like that will be interesting. On the idea of visibility also, because I think we should reach out. Yeah. I mean, without being desperate, without desperation, but I think we should push more like being out and then use networks to try to.
If you're watching, please
yes, please
contact us.
Please contact us and share the content, please. We are not, this is not the Bible, but this is one of the options there is right now.
But if you have enough followers, we don't take you if you only have 10 followers, and that's anyways,
like
that's not true.
These people that I know, like sometimes, like I know I should not be doing good my Instagram or things, like people I know in Melting Pot, like they were like 3,000 followers, things like that, and I'm like, okay, I have like 500 followers. I don't know, but I guess I don't know how to use Instagram. Anyway, but no, I think maybe what I would like to say to close is that it seems clear to me that more often when as well hear from other people, I think we have something that is interesting, that is more, is yet fluid, but it's solid in the sense of like we are around something that it has shape. It's grouping and ungrouping, but it is an option. It's a valid option these days. So I think it will be, because we have been doing this for so long, it would be interesting that other people can have access to this. Yes. So people share the word, post,
and like the video, of course.
and like the video. Okay, so bye bye. We go backstage.